and I am with Ella, one of our teachers. So welcome, Ella. This is the first time we've done a live directly on our page, so we thought we would come on here and have a bit of a chat. So as you are coming on and you're joining us, let us know, because we can see when you do that, so we know that we're not talking to ourselves. But Ella, I'd love, because it's the first time that we're introducing you and you're one of our teachers, just tell everyone a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, Bronwyn. Yes. Now you've known me for a very long time. We've known each other for 6 years, Bronwyn, something like that. Poor you. A little bit about me. I actually have a background in healthcare. So I'm going to call it my other job as an orthoptist, and a lot of people think, "Oh, what is that? Is that feet?" No, it actually is eyes. So I have a background in eyes and healthcare. So I'm very used to talking to people. I think it's something that thankfully I'm very good at, because it's part of my profession. But I think that that's helped me in this sort of space, because I am very used to understanding how people move through different stages, obviously hearing diagnoses and talking through that with them, and then sort of moving through that has helped me in this space too. But that's my background as an orthoptist. But this is where I want to be. This is my jam. This is exactly where I want to be. Anything spirituality is what I want to do. So ideally, although I still, do that on a part-time basis, my main passion is, obviously teaching with the college and doing my readings. So professional reading, psychic mediumship, and past lives, which is a big passion of mine, as you know, because I could talk about past lives for days. Love past lives, but that's basically where I'm at. But yes, that's me. That's me.
Awesome. Hi, I just want to acknowledge Chanel. So hi, thanks for saying hi, Chanel. For those that are watching, just let us know that you're here, because it would be really nice to have a conversation, include you in the conversation, but we can't do that if we don't know that you are here. So for those that don't know me, a little bit about me. So I used to work in banking. I've done a few things. I'm one of those hash people before hash was a thing with careers. I am obviously the founder of the Psychic Mediumship College, but I'm also a reader. I read 2 days a week. I do about 400 readings a year and teach about 3,500 hours of teaching every year. And as a reader, and when I was learning, there was a couple of things that really stood out for me as challenges. I'm not a confident person at all. I lacked confidence in my abilities, and I'm overthink, because I really would overthink what I would get. So there was a few challenges when I was learning to connect into my psychic abilities, how to trust them. I think that was one of my biggest challenges, that I couldn't trust what I was getting. I didn't know how it worked, and I didn't know what I was getting, if I was just making it up or it was coming from somewhere else. I really had confusion around that. Ella, when you were learning, what were some of your challenges?
Oh, that sounds like you're talking about me, to be honest. Everything you said as well. I think I'm very evidence-based. I'm very logical. So I need to see, how something works to be able to believe that it works. So structure is something that I really, I rely on. So I think for me, trusting was a big thing, because I grew up in a very Catholic background. So I went to a Catholic school, both primary and high school was Catholic. And we were taught a certain way of thinking, which is fine. But I think that had made me, believe a certain thing. So, unless I had evidence to sort of understand where things were coming from, I did have trust issues, major trust in myself and my own abilities. So I think this is why I loved your courses. So what I loved and what I really latched onto was the fact that you explained the science behind things. Because as you know, science background, and I gravitate to the science side of things. That's why I loved the psychic, particularly, both courses, all courses, I've done all of them, but particularly this one here, because it talked about where things come from, where's the information come from, where in your body, so that I could start to really trust what I was receiving, because I could see the science behind it. because I needed that structure. I needed to know that. So trust was a big one for me. I think that's a big one for most people. Would you say, Bronwyn? Like a lot of people? I wouldn't say everyone,
yeah.
But I think it's a big one for a lot of people.
Yeah. Hi, John. I just want to acknowledge you. So thanks for saying hi. So once again, anyone that's joining us, let us know that you're here. Yeah. Trust, overthinking, also trying to understand and control our connection. That's also a bit of a challenge when we're in this space. Not having the technical skills, that also can be one of people's challenges as they're learning, and not knowing how to strengthen or hold their connection and get really specifics. They just sort of at the mercy of how the information drops in, and it kind of feels like, oh, when's the next piece coming in? And that creates this unease within us when we are connecting in.
Definitely.
And most people think it's ability that's what's lacking, that they don't have enough ability to be able to provide a strong intuitive connection or psychic connection. But it's not that. It's actually, as you really touched on it, it's actually structure.
That
is the key to being able to have a strong connection, move through your doubt, so you have confidence in what you're getting. It is structure every day of the week. Hi, Muriel, how are you? So, and that's what I found with teaching, and I teach about 600 people a year, and that's the common theme. They think that they're self-doubt, they're overthinking, all this is something to do with their ability, but it's not. Hi, Debbie. It's to do with not knowing the structure and how to be able to hold the connection, how to be able to dive deeper, how to be able to get specifics, how to be able to put it on timeline, so past, present, future, all the things that we do to take a reading from an intuitive reading to a psychic reading, and a psychic reading without tools, which is, that's what we're doing, right? We're not card readers, we're not fortune tellers, we don't use crystals or pendulums or anything like this. It's the translation of energy that is in this reality, in the 3D, that's connected to people and the environment, and it's finding the words for what is there that's coming out of people and being able to put it on a timeline. Hi, Kate, how are you? So what for you, right, because you just said you've done a few courses, so for you, what was probably the biggest game changer for you in your development?
I think for me, it was learning to trust what I got. I mean, I feel like I always had, from the get-go, I mean, everyone's origin story is a little bit different. Everyone, starts off a different way. And that's why I love hearing about how other people start off their journey, because everyone is a little bit different. I mean, I always felt like I had the ability to sort of connect in. I had a very predictive dreams growing up, would hear people through my house and all those sorts of things. So I had some sort of ability to do it, but actually trusting what I got and not not just dismissing it, and finding basically a way to move through it and actually push for more definitely was the big game changer. Because I think without that structure, I was like, oh, well, I got a piece of information. Well, what do I do with it now? How am I helping anyone with it? How am I helping myself? How am I navigating my own life path? Because initially it was more about when I first started studying, I wanted to sort of really navigate my own path. I wanted to work out, how I can help myself. Obviously going into readings to help other people was just a bonus. But initially I wanted to be able to trust what I got for myself, to be able to make my own decisions, to be able to live life in flow. I think that was the big thing I really wanted to do. I think I'm frozen. Am I frozen?
You are frozen, but I can still hear you.
Okay, I'm frozen. Oh, there we are. I'm back. So to live life in flow. So I think that was the big game changer for me. And then finally, and you mentioned as well, getting that detail to be able to help other people. Because with the healthcare background, I'm used to wanting to help people. That's my thing, wanting to help other people. So to be able to use that to help others. So, but the trust thing, it's such a big thing. And overthinking, oh man, that is me to a T.
And that's the other thing that people don't realize when we're on a spiritual journey and we're in a development space. No one really talks about it, and those that do don't necessarily give tools for the students to be able to maneuver through the impact of their belief systems that are part of their unconsciousness, that is their auto operating system, to understand how they're impacting their connection and how to be able to either leverage them or maneuver through them so they're not impacting the reading, because that it is your filter, and so that will impact the connection. So that it's not always, as I said, covered, and people aren't given the tools to be able to maneuver through that, because, as you said, self-doubt. The self-doubt doesn't just sit in the readings. What happens is when we're on a spiritual journey, particularly if we lean into a reading space, all the things, right, that are your within your life that are we call them blocks. That's how they show up in a reading. But anything that's kind of holding you back from self-actualization and being all that you could be and living a really big, full life, all those little ego voices, they show up really loud in a reading. And for the reader, they will be blocks that we have to work through. And so doing that in a really supportive way, because otherwise when you work on this, because you can definitely develop your abilities by yourself, but there will be a limitation to it. And what ends up happening is people repeat patterns, and so they don't move through and grow, because they don't have the support to be able to have someone support them in a really lovely, nurturing way with skill to be able to move them through whatever is their block. And so there is a limit to what the development that occurs for. I've been in the industry for a very long time, to indicate my age, if I said it. But what happens in that space is that there will be a cap in skills, and the cap in skills has a direct correlation to the personal development and how people move through their blocks. And so having a support mechanism, whether it be a teacher, whether it be a mentor, whether it be a community, like the college offers all that, that is the key in moving people through what holds them back, over and above the structure, the technical skills to get the really in-depth information that we can get. Exactly. And there really is no limit to that. I was only reflecting on that last night with someone, and as I was, because yesterday I had a day of readings, and I was going through sort of all the things that came up in them and expressing the minute detail that you can get in a reading. And I was going through, someone wanted to know out of 100 items, which things needed to be kept. And so we went along the timeline, and we're like, because then they went, and the items had a date range from in the 70s to now.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it was 100 items spread over this time. Which are the ones? The 5 things that needed to be kept. And they were all books, right? So the 5 books, 5 diaries, so we could do a description piece, which were the ones, right? And so this is where having that skill to be able to go really specific helps. Just here it is, this is the year. So the book that was written in this year, the diary that was written in this year, that's got this in it, that's got this on the cover, that's one of them. The one that's this, and it's that specific. And then through the timeline, so, one that was done 2 years ago that looks like this, has got this in it, that's the other one. And it's that type of specifics that we can get when we're highly trained in this space.
Exactly.
It's and as someone that does it, I'm still surprised. I'm like, what?
Oh, sometimes I think, how did that even come out? It was so unique. Sometimes you'll bring up, you'll be talking to spirit, and they'll bring up something so left field, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to say it because now I trust myself to say it. And that's the difference. Before, something would come through and I'd be like, oh, well, I'm not going to say that because I'm going to look like, look like a weirdo. Now I'll trust it. And then there's the wow moment there, because if I hadn't have trusted myself, it wouldn't have come through. And then I would have let that piece of information go because of that self-doubt. So, but very specific. You're so right. It's so random sometimes.
It is. It blows my mind. And as I said, I do hundreds of these every year, and I'm still surprised. I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Oh, never ceases to amaze.
So let me ask you a question. If someone wanted to develop their psychic senses, their intuition, become a psychic reader, whether for themselves or to help others, they knew it was a calling, what would you say to them?
Look, To be honest, I think
if they actually didn't know what to do or how to move forward, or they were hesitating, and it's not a pitch thing, like I actually want you to speak from your heart, what would you say to them as someone that's been in that space?
Well, some people have asked me this question. It's funny that you asked me this, because some people have asked me this question, and they'll say, but I can't do it because I'm not intuitive. Or I mean, I want to do it because I'm intrigued, but I can't because I'm not psychic. Everyone has the ability to read energy, because we can all do that. We can all do that. We've been, from babies, we're already reading energy. So the first thing I would say is you can do it. So that's number one, because let's put that self-doubt aside. I think the first thing I would probably work on would be yourself. I actually, and I think this is definitely told me this, and I did do this because we did have a chat before I even enrolled. You probably remember this. So when I found you, I had no experience at all. Had never done a psychic reading, have never done any courses at all. But I remember you telling me to write down all the intuitive hits that I had in a little journal. I still have that journal, by the way. It's gotten really thick now. And now I do drawings and everything on there, because like if something comes through, I'll draw. But I started doing that. I started writing down every little thing that I thought could potentially be a little intuitive hit, whatever it was. And I would date it, and I would like put a little star around it or whatever. And then I'd forget about it. But then something would come up, and I remember that. I'd go back and say, look at that. And I'd tick it off. So those little tricks here really help with the self-doubt, and really help to prove that, yes, you can do this, and it would start to help you trust your intuition. So I think that really helped for me, because like that was a game changer, and I still do this today. But I think they're the main things I would probably start with, and then maybe taking some time also to sit. And I know it's really difficult to sit in silence, because our lives are so busy. I understand that, but 5 to 10 minutes just to sit in silence, and just really, I think when you're sitting in silence, you can be open to receiving more as well. So being really mindful for what's coming through, because that way there you can be opening yourself up to, inner wisdom to help you trust yourself too. And just that little bit, I might, get some guidance from even if you don't know your spiritual team, that's fine. You can just invite them in. They'll give you some little information here and there, but sitting in silence, that little journal, those sorts of things are really big game changers for me. Probably would suggest that.
Thanks. And I still have my book.
Oh, good. Yes.
This week, so I still have it. I don't use it, but I've still got it. And I still teach that to everyone. It is a game changer.
Really?
Both those two things. Like whenever someone's starting with me, it is the first homework that I will give my beginner class is the silence. And probably the second thing I get them to do is to the journal, write down those hits, because it's a powerful but basic starting place. So Ella, I just want to thank you for hanging out with me and having this conversation with me. I really appreciate you giving up your time for that, and allowing us to kind of talk through some things that are really common that people go through on their spiritual journey and when they're starting out. So if you've got any kind of questions or anything like that, you put them below the video and we will answer them. I'd love any kind of comments. If you've got any value in this conversation, let us know. Engage with us because we love to connect with you. So if you're watching this on replay, just do #replay so we know that. For everyone else that's seen us, because we just showed up, we didn't announce it, know that we are going to be doing these far more often on this page to be able to share our journey, share our teachings, and share our the information that we have with the community that's forming on this page. So on that note, I want to thank everyone for being here, hanging out with us for a bit, and thanks again, Ella. Bye.
Thank you so much, Roman. Thank you, everyone. Bye.